Hey boys and girls, Lucky here and welcome back to another CSGO video. Today we'll talk a little bit about useful commands that you guys were asking for, so I'd say let's get right into it. Alrighty, so many of you guys did ask about my practice config or just a couple of useful commands that I keep using in my videos and you guys want to use them as well. So yeah, here we go. So what I usually do right at the start of a match, I just hit exec for execute and then train. That's the name of my execution, like my CFG file. It's called train.cfg, and I can also link it in the description down below. I think it should be linked there anyways, I believe, so you can check that out as well. And if you do that, you will have a couple of commands that I'm usually using. So first of all, obviously, we're using svcheats1. Keep in mind this is all an offline match right here with bots, so you can actually use the command without any problems, and many of the commands that we're going to use are cheat protected, so we want to use that one. That's very important. Now, another thing that we're using is SV, then you hit infinite ammo, and we're using 2. So what this does, if you're firing, for example, with the AK right here, just at the wall, you can see it's coming down. We're reloading, but we still have 90 bullets left in our kind of reservoir, I guess. Now, this is very handy because if we're, for example, using the other version of that, which is, again, I'll just hit the up arrow key to get the last command back, SV infinite ammo 1, we can just fire indefinitely. You can see the bullet magazine count stays at 30, so we can just fire and fire, but of course that's not going to help us because we want to like get used to our actual ammo count. So we want to keep it at that. Now the next one that we're using is also very cool, so again bringing that up, and again there's another tip. You can hit space and then you can kind of search for the terms that you want to find. For example, if I type in ammo and then grenade, you can see it brings up a couple of the ones that I want. So if I just hit down, 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 you can see that we're now at the ammo grenade limit total, and I hit 5. So this is usually at 4. So we can still get like our smoke grenade, our flashbang, our HE, and our Molotov. However, this time around, due to that command, we can also go to grenades and buy a decoy. So this is handy because everywhere you are now, you can always try out every spot that you're trying to do, or every strat, every tactic, with all different types of grenades, which is very handy, obviously. Now, and then I got a couple of other commands. Essentially, like, I'll just link them on the screen. There are a couple of MP commands. They're just for like the warm-up to extend it, and essentially you'll get the 60 minutes on top right here, so you can just stay in the server for a long time. So I'll put them on the screen somewhere right here on the description. I probably will put all of them in the description anyway, so you can choose the ones that you like, and then you can do that. And again, CFG file is just like a collection of all those commands in one file, so I just have to execute the CFG file and it'll execute all the commands in there. So there's that. Now, something else that's very important is if we again just hit space and then we go SV and grenade, we can see a couple of commands. So I'm using these right here, so they're always set to mine, so just the way they're setting right here. Essentially, they tell you how long the trail right here, if we just throw a grenade, is being displayed. You can also change like how thick it is, just many different things. These are mine. I think they're kind of good because you got like the green and the black, and it's kind of easy to spot, but at the same time it's not that thick. And then you see it's kind of going back right there and it's fading. So there we are. Another very useful command to kind of like, if you're trying, especially if you're trying out for a couple of different smoke grenades and just throwing them and you kind of want to see where they're landing, you see, okay, that didn't work out at all, so I obviously have to aim a little higher, but you can like specifically see where you're landing, and this makes it a lot easier to perfect your smokes, especially if you're trying to find a couple of new ones for a team practice or something like that. Now, another command that I use, but you do not have to, that's usually just for YouTube mainly, because I think personally, if you're using it just for training, it might mess you up a little bit, and that's SV underscore show impacts 1 right here. What it does is give you the hit, kind of the blue and the red ones, but only one of them is like the client side, and one is client side and one is server side, but only one of them is relevant anymore. So for my purpose, it's just that people can see the bullet holes better on YouTube. If you're using it, I would just suggest you to turn it off, I guess. Now, I also got a couple of other commands, which I'll also put on the screen because they're mainly just things for the buy time. For example, another one that I can show you right here, which is very handy, is MP, and then I think it is buy. Yeah, anywhere, 1. And this will allow you obviously to buy stuff right here and not just in the spawn, which again is very handy if you're trying to just go around, try out things like different wall bang spots. Can you bang through that right here? How is it like using the op? But again, if you buy too many of them, you cannot do that anymore, so you just have to pick up the older ones or just restart the game with mp_restart game 1. So that's another thing. Now many people are also often asking me, how do you make the bot stop? And there's actually very easy command to do that. You just hit bot, stop, and then you go bot stop 1. That's it. Now, many people also ask me how you can actually make, like, put the bots, like so. You can see I can just put them there and then I do whatever I want with them. Now, that's also a command that I did bind in my case to a specific key. So usually you got bot_place. And you can see he's coming right here. So if you're not using that a lot, it doesn't really make sense to bind it to a key. In my case, I did bind it to B. So what you're essentially doing is you do bind, and then you... I'm not sure if it's in the console like that, but that's how it is in the auto exec. And then you go bot place, and then you can bind a key to a certain command. Again, you usually want to do that in your auto exec file since it's more reliable. Sometimes you can also use it without the little strings, I think. So it really depends. So once again, just using the auto exec and putting everything, all the commands that you need, put it in there. That's a lot better than just trying to execute all of them at once, because it takes literally ages. I think in mine I got like a 20 plus or something like that. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about a couple of different commands that you also might want to use that I'm at least often using in my videos, and many people are asking about them. And that's once again, if we're just hitting up our console, you hit in space, without that space. And what you then do is you type in accuracy. Like so. Not like so. Once again, sorry, my microphone is in the way of my keyboard, so I cannot properly type. And we got a couple of commands right here. So what you then do is you hit it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and you come to this one. CL, weapon, debug, show accuracy. And then you hit A2, like so. And that's the command that I pretty much use all the time, so let me actually get back in AK, for example. Nope, this one, since it's a little easier. And this will bring up this little circle. Like so. See, very handy. This will basically tell us the spread of the weapon while moving, or best said at any time, also while stutter stepping. So you can also compare them with other weapons. For example, you can see the deagle is a lot more accurate than the AK, and if you spray, the circles are obviously also getting bigger, and you can also see always where you actually did shoot from, for example right here, and then where the recoil is actually taking you. So that's another handy command again. Sometimes it can be a little, no, that's not the one we want to use. Okay, the game seems to be a little confused. That's usually a good command, but if you use it all the time, you just end up like with tons of strings and lines that like everywhere. So just turning it off makes it a little easier sometimes to see what's going on the map again. Now, these are probably most of the commands that I'm using when I'm just trying to develop some strategies or some tactics on the map, try to find new smokes or flashbangs, for example. Like also with that one, oh, actually that did mess up the wrong key. So like so. So you can do that, you can see it's kind of popping right a little in front of you or a little to the side, so that the enemies are actually getting flashed, and that's the way you can kind of train them and see what you gotta improve on, because oftentimes it's not that easy without a trail, and that really helps you. So that's definitely something I would recommend to you guys. Now, last but not least, I'd say the last thing that you might want to use is, if you're funny, you go auto, and then B, and you can see auto bunny hopping, and then you hit 1. Now if you hold down space, you're actually bunny hopping the whole time. Now, this doesn't work in competitive, obviously. I showed this command a little while ago. You can also change the air acceleration, stuff like that, to make you go faster. But that's essentially how bunny hopping, perfect bunny hopping, looks like done by the console. So there you go. But yeah, I think it's pretty much all for now, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and luckySkillFaker out.